Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Murphy's Law. I'm Eric Murphy, and with me today, I actually have someone who is in my quarantine group, which means we get to be in person. With me today is genetically modified skeptic. Hey, Drew, how's it going?
Hey, it's going great. My day is a lot better now that I'm actually here. I've been hyped about being on the show, and your first in-person guest for Murphy's Law?
I actually had my roommate on as well.
Okay.
Okay. Non-roommate.
Your first real guest. Your first guest of importance. Right? Okay. Yeah, and we're going to do our best to top those views. I'm going to be straight on competitive.
Okay. No, I'm very, very much up for that. Okay, let's do that.
Let's do it.
So I went into different episodes of Talk Heathen that you've guested on, and I saw there were newer ones, and I saw one in particular that really kind of made me think of you and think of the unique dynamic that that always tends to come about whenever I work with you. And let me dive in, actually. Let's look at this first clip.
I'm just now coming around to seeing your point of view.
Can we just...
We're so little, right?
We're some babies. Look at that.
So little.
Oh my gosh. Look at your hair.
Yeah.
Look at my hair.
You actually look... Okay. You look the age that I am now. You look in this how I am supposed to look right now. We'll say that.
Oh.
This is... Wow. Okay. I think this was one of my very first, maybe my first thing I ever traveled for, being like an activist. Like I had gone full time. I had been full time as an activist for 1 month, almost to the day that we recorded this.
Wow.
I was a baby.
Dude.
I'm still a baby, but even more of a baby.
Man, it was a ton of fun having you on. I think you were one of the first actually outside of the ACA guests that Talk Heathen ever had. Yeah. And so first I wanted to let's go back to the view here. Okay. I will admit I wore makeup. I wore makeup back in the day.
Oh yeah.
But it's definitely different now. It's
okay. People forgive us, right?
Do they?
It's going to be up for the comment section to decide.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, let's get into the call. This person is saying, I'm starting to view your side of things. I've been a Christian. This woman, she was actually raised in the church. Her father was a pastor. And now that she's become an adult, she's finding her way out. And what was interesting is I look back at this, and this was by far the most interacted with clip. And
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
From that episode, by far. And so I kind of went into it, and the more and more I saw it, the more I saw that people weren't tuning in for a bloodbath. They weren't tuning in for yelling. They were tuning in because there was a human connection here.
Right.
And there was something to that I took with me after this episode. And I feel like I internalized in a big way. So this was kind of a cathartic thing to watch and remember. So she says, I'm starting to view your side of things. And then she starts to talk about how her sister and her sister's husband are quitting smoking.
She called me today and was talking about they were wanting to quit smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, the first thing I said was, well, if you got enough faith, you can pray about it.
Angry atheist phase much?
Yeah.
I was there.
I spent more of my life in that place than I have in the place that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
So I understand that in a deep way.
Definitely.
I think when you first come out, when you're first getting out of that, you have a visceral reaction to people even saying that.
Yeah.
But after a while, you get to the point where you realize it's hard to blame people for being in a spot where you yourself were for a long time.
Yeah, you definitely get a lot of that empathy. And so, watching that, it's like, okay, I see that, and we're starting to follow her in this journey. I wound up, going first and giving advice, and I said, hey, when it comes to coming out to your family and talking to them about this kind of thing, if you're not comfortable, no one's holding your feet to the fire.
Right.
And you actually also...
She didn't seem to have as much faith as she used to. And that's kind of the way I started coming to your side of thinking. Now, the terminologies that y'all use, I don't understand all of them. Like the theist, I'm not real sure if I'm a theist or what.
That's right. This clip came first. Yeah, I love that people are starting. They're reaching out. They're wanting to get their terms. Like this is the niche. This is what we're looking for.
Yeah, it's, and I think a lot of the time, I've seen a lot of people ask these kinds of questions, and people send me emails asking me what we would consider simple questions. What does theist mean? Am I a theist? I don't know. And sometimes people give others flack for that. Say, oh, you could just Google it. And I understand you can Google a lot. I tell people to Google things like all the time.
Sure.
Like, why are you asking me? Look it up. I get it. However, when people are in an emotionally vulnerable position and they're not even sure what their identity is, telling them to Google, ultimately, I think what she's asking is like, how am I defined? Who am I?
Yeah.
She's not just asking us. She's asking herself.
Exactly. And it's not like Kevin, who called in, who's been calling in a bunch of times and saying, I've got a new wacky hypothesis. No, this is personal identity. Mm-hmm. And this interaction could determine whether or not they're going to be a part of this community that we're building.
Right.
And so, yeah, that first interaction is gonna determine whether or not they're gonna come back.
Meeting them where they're at is absolutely required at this point.
Agreed. And so you were giving that example. You were saying, hey, you don't just have to be, abrasive. Actually, here.
Someone says, I'm an atheist, and then someone hits them or kicks them out of the house, or someone says, oh, you're not going to get any presents for Christmas now. First of all, that's awful that anybody would be like that in the first place, but another thing is you can be out and proud, so to speak, without basically walking up, hey, I'm an atheist, what are you going to do about it?
It's funny because, there are those jokes that's like, oh, an atheist walks into a bar. How did I know? Well, he came up and told me.
Yep.
And I get that. So there are people that, especially like on social media, mm-hmm. will scream that they're an atheist. I perfectly understand why that is, because people want to be visible. People don't want there to be a visceral reaction to that statement anymore, so they keep repeating it, hoping that it's going to get better.
Yeah.
However, it's just if you are trying to reconcile your identity, if you are just feeling like, I want to be out for the sake of other people, and I even maybe for my own mental health, you can be, but you don't have to be that guy, and a lot of the people like you and I that talk about this stuff and might be that guy in the eyes of some other people,
sure, that
aren't atheists. We can have our issues with that guy. That
absolutely,
there's a time and a place.
Well, if we're going to be representatives, then we definitely have to hold each other to account for that behavior.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely, I agree. So she's sharing, she's talking, and we're engaging, and mind you, I'm on this end clipping this and going, why did this get so much traction? Like, why was this so engaged with? What's got like this is an awesome connection, and then it came about at the end.
Well, when Phillipp started watching you guys, he basically started
recognition
preaching
on my
at me.
face.
But
Booger, is that you?
Out for a long time. Huh?
Is that you? Are you Booger?
Yeah.
I knew it. Okay.
What,
sorry,
in the chat, or is this something I'm not aware of?
It's something.
People think that is just absolutely terrible for him to call me Booger, but it is a love term. We call each other Booger,
So,
First of all, this person warms my heart.
Right?
This is amazing. I'm glad to revisit this.
Philip, people might remember him if they're an old time viewer of Talk Heathen as Colonel Phil. Did a lot of stuff for Talk Heathen in the early days.
Okay.
And well, let me show you the first submission that I was able to find that he sent over, because right in the intro for Talk Heathen that episode, it was Jamie, myself, and Ray Blevins, but he had prepared this kind of special intro.
All right, here it is.
Oh shit! So, did you remember those animations?
I do remember that. I remember you showing me that right after the show because you were explaining this exact thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's exactly it.
Yep.
Is we were talking to Philip's wife, and I've talked to Philip many times. Actually, in doing this clipping, I reached out to him because it's been 2 years since I've talked to him.
Yeah.
And I hope he's doing well, but I mean, there was a while where he was, putting together these really awesome, fun intros. Here's another one.
Let's go. I swear, I think it's over here.
Yeah, that's what you said the last time.
Look,
you sure you don't want me to hold the map?
I think,
sure you don't
do you
want me
have
to?
that pointed the wrong way?
I do not have that. Good steering. Eric, what happened?
We get sucked into that.
Yeah. Come on, let's go.
Through there?
I love that.
Hey!
How fun is that?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And really, the purpose of Murphy's Law is something else. The purpose of this show is to go back and talk about how we want to be better hosts. The purpose of the show is to talk about, the topics or going, what the hell was that? But in prepping this episode, what really kind of came across to me is I don't want to lose sight of the community that we're here for.
Right.
And that's what this is.
Exactly.
I mean, the last one that I clipped was especially close to my heart. It was the weekend that we went and did the first live show at American Atheists. We went up to Oklahoma City, and Mark, the producer, and Vern, audio engineer, have been working with Colonel Phil on creating the special intro. And I'm going to play it, but the sound, it's going to sound weird. And the reason it's going to sound weird is because the AV people at American Atheists had left some background music playing.
Okay.
And so it sounds kind of funky, but if you focus, you can go, oh, okay, I can actually pick this out.
Yeah.
But this was the intro for our first time on stage.
Very involved, and Talk Heathen obviously very meaningful to him. And then his wife is being influenced by this stuff, and we're trying to meet her where she's at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is that she finally felt comfortable enough to call in, and that it took time, but that's what I think kind of set it apart. Was that human connection, taking the time and doing silly, fun things like that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lose sight of that, man.
Right.
And I know that you and I have sat back and reminisced and talked about, why we do this.
That's what we talk about all the time. Like on and off camera, Eric and I are talking about that all of the time. I mean, Eric is someone who helps me keep my eye on the prize, so to speak, when it comes to community. it's always been something that's been so near and dear to you that it motivates me to like, because it's always been important to me as well. But when we're together,
Yeah.
it really comes out, and it comes to the forefront of our minds.
It does. It does. And I'm doing it again because this is the one that I wanted to talk to you about. This is the one that I went, what an amazing example of what we're doing. I moved out to Texas to get a new shot at life, and I wound up making amazing friends like you and getting to do this.
Yeah.
I do want to do other episodes where we go over calls and stuff like that, and any chance to get you in here, I'd be happy to do that.
I'd be happy to be on another episode.
Cool, man. But today, this just felt right. I kind of wanted to get to roots.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. So, thank you, brother.
You know what?
What's up?
All right. So, sorry, I guess you have to cut right here. Are we?
Oh, no. I finished this out live. Watch this. Are we ready? Okay, everybody. We're zoomed in. Click here to subscribe. I put out new content every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you cannot wait for Monday's episode, go ahead and click here. That's my Patreon. That is one of the perks that I put out for people. And if you want to watch the episode that this guy is going to be competing against, Holy Kool-Aid's videos right here. Bye, everybody.